Just always remember, futures trading's risky. We're in a risky game here. Just used risk capital. We got short at 77.5, coming in a little late here. 77.5, hoping they'll hold back in general under 74 to 75. Again, short up here at 77.5 and looking for a move potentially down to 67 if they can just let them break. But the riggers once again today are hanging on for dear life, trying to keep goose in the market up to these new all-time highs up here. Uh, Got a brand new one they just goosed it up to up here. And then there was like a level right here that was the last all-time high. So for right now, we'll just leave it alone and see if we can get the thing to break down. So we're trying to get it to break down under 2, hold under 272, and then knock out that 70 handle with a little bit of selling pressure coming in there. Should be able to get some selling pressure coming in here. We've taken 5 points on a move to 72 on a fifth of the or third of the position, and we're watching now for a little bit of trend down pressure to potentially knock them down to 67. That should be able to kick in. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to kick in and give us some downside pressure here. In fact, maybe more than 67. 67 could be the start if they really blast them. Um, but that would be a nice trade for us. So I'm going to go for it. It's a 10-point move, 10.5 points if we get 67. So let's see if we can get them. These riggers, oh boy, the last couple days, whew, yesterday especially. Today is still early in the session. It's only 11:10. But boy, I don't know if they're going to still act the same way today or they're going to let this thing go a little bit here. Everything I got says they should be able to let this thing go and smoke them down a little lower. But who knows? A lot of games being played. They're hanging on to 72, not even the 70 handle. But we got to get the 70 handle out of the way. Obviously, duh, we won 67, but we got to get that out of the way. So 72, that you can see them, they're actually hanging on to it. That's why I had you get out with 5 points here. But let's see if we can break them down, put the sell pressure on. Crank out 70. You can see the riggers are still in there, though. They're still more so than I've ever seen. They're dibble-dabbling, propping up the little minor moves like that last one we just had. They're not just letting it flow. They're still in there propping up the little minor dips, playing those kind of games. I'm trying to hold because it's the right thing to do here. There should be an effort for the market. In a normal, natural market, there should be a selling off in this area here. There should be more sell pressure. And they're just not letting it happen. They're goosing, they're supporting and kind of goosing up the 72 here. So we really watching to see if we can get that 70 handle to crack, and we should be able to get 67 if it does. Maybe more. Maybe it's going to be a bigger move, but I just let's do this. Let's just for let's go ahead, keep 67 in mind, but pull it down to 64. Let's see here. Well, so much for that. They're back to playing games here. Anyway, here comes a big spike again. See what I mean? I was telling you, I noticed some goose in 72. The 70 half is a low on a real fast move, and they're back goose in 70, that 72 number. Look at that. Can you believe it? It's just shocking how much they're rigging this market. Shocking. Anyway, so 64 is the new limit. Let me squish the chart together a little bit here. With the idea that they can bust 72, take 70 out, really hammer this thing under 70, knock them to 67, and then potentially down to 64. We're going to try for a little larger ticket here. They're starting to do it now. This is 64 is where they ran this whole spiky ramp up here. So I'm kind of calling for that to get faded. May not, but at least we can try. I mean, we're asking the market to fade this whole fiasco here, taking them down to 64, right where it all started. So they're slightly breaking down 72, slightly, nothing to write home about. But let's kind of see if we can. The whole chart pattern here is suggesting at least a move down to 69, and who knows, maybe from there they try to rebound some back. But I'm patently aware of what we need to do to put some profits on the table here, so I'm just trying to follow the chart pattern and see if they're going to try to break this thing down a little bit harder under 69, knock them down to 67 with some genuine selling pressure coming in, and then potentially down to 64. It shouldn't be this difficult. I can tell you that right now. It should not be this difficult to get this thing to kill the 70 handle and drop lower. You can see the pattern. It starts to sell off, and look what happens. You know who comes in, and it's the games. Let the games begin again as they start trying to prop it up and support it. Let's see if we can get them here. Stay ready to jump out any time. I'm trying to see if they can get rid of 70 handle and get rid of 69. If they can trade them under 69, I mean, we're always going to be subject to whipsaw reversal moves here. But I'm trying to trade them based on the idea that they can break down and roll down at least to the 67 to 68 area. They should already be there, but you know who has got a different idea. So let's see if we can get some selling pressure. They're blocking the selling pressure, but we're in a chart pattern now that should facilitate a stronger move lower down under 69 to potentially knock it down to 64. Okay, here comes 70. Let's see what kind of games they play at 70. Should be plenty of room to roll to the downside, but my gosh. Let's see if they can crack. See, that's, you can see the rigor support. They're just buying up the little minor dips. The thing theoretically should have all kinds of sellers all over this thing here, just punching the thing to the downside. And all this stuff is just rigor forced support here. Let's see if they can back them off and really hit that downside under 69. They tried. They got them down to 69.75, And you can see them coming in here. Let's see if we can really hit this thing. It's being run by a tight-fisted rigger operation here to keep this thing propped up. These are not bulls in here buying the dips or anything. It's not bulls. It's rigor, tight-fisted, controlled. It'll all go away someday. It's just a matter of time. You know, pretty soon this fiasco will end. But for right now, that's what they feel compelled to do. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I just see them doing it. And what can you say? We got to identify it. We got to trade around it. Everybody else is just baffled. You know, we're just at least we can identify it. Okay, stay ready to jump out anytime here. They're rolling them down to that 68 level. We want to crack 68. We want to hit them harder here. They should be able to hit them down to 64. That's why I expanded it from 67 down to 64. They should be able to hit them down here. There should be selling pressure in the chart pattern to be able to knock them down lower. To get out would mean, you know, possibly giving up that extra points. So let's see if they can take them down under 68 and slam this thing down lower here. I sure hope so. But you know who is lurking in the shadows, ready to re-jack the market back up, and more so than I've ever seen. I'm serious. I've been watching this stuff since 2001. I have never seen the riggers more strange and anxious to jack up the market. You know, like they just kind of obsessed with these all-time highs. See, now they dipped them down to right at 68 half, and there's a lot of times the riggers give up and they just kind of sit in their hands, but not lately. They're just obsessed with keeping this market goosed up. So let's try to hit 68 and break 68 down and maybe get 64 out of the deal. If we can just get them going under 70, get that selling pressure. The chart pattern is there now, and there should be selling pressure coming in under 70. There's no reason for it just to be this little minor pullback, and then they think they're going to re-goose them, I suppose. And if you don't hold, you don't get them. And if you hold and the riggers come in and goose them back up, then all you can do is sit there and curse, you know, because it's like there's no way you're going to get the trade unless you let the pattern go. And in hindsight, everything's easy. Well, couldn't you see from yesterday how they're and today how they're just supporting them and goosing them? Yeah, but if you don't trade the chart patterns and what it says, you're never going to catch the bigger moves that, you know, in this case we're trying to catch. And you can get out wherever you want, but I'm just saying, you know, it's part of the frustration having to deal with these riggers, and we can't seem to get them out of there and let the market trade naturally by itself. We always got to have these clowns in there playing their games. So once again, I'm trying to hold according to the chart pattern here, which is forming a stronger sell down potential move. And I suppose they're going to have to jack them back up to 75 to prove that they can do it or something. And it's just, it's very frustrating. But I think that there's a larger scale move down to at least 64. Maybe not. And it's always the spikes. That's how you can tell it's the riggers, because it's always the spiky rebounds. Who's got all that money to gouge that thing up, you know, buy 6, 7. They're not buying the mini NASDAQ, but I'm saying to force the systems there to gouge it up to that level again. Put on that kind of volume on that little dip. Normally they would have collapsed under 70 there. Got hit a lot harder. I still think they are. This would be a trade back into the bias right here if you got the guts or you want to get back in. This is where it is, right here at the 73 area. And And then if they goose them from there and just ramp it back up to 75, 76, you tell me, what the hell can you do? It's just it's the saddest thing seeing these riggers just take over the market with an iron fist. But let's see if 73, which it should break down into the trading back into the sell bias. 73 should at least trade back down to 70, should lose 70, and get smashed down a lot lower under 69. So let's see if they can do that. Act normal for a change. I mean, this market should give up 3% easily. It's just shot. Never in history have we seen any such a deal like this where you have a very strong new president and the combined things that are happening from that, and then the riggers joining that and jamming it even further because of something they know that's coming down the pipe in, I don't know, a year or something. So they feel this obsession with jamming the market up as high as they can because of, like I said, something that strikes me that they must know that's coming down the pipeline. So they want to get the market as high as they can, I don't know, so that the squashed low is higher. Who knows? Anyway, let's see if we can take 70 out. This still should be a trade down into the bias, back under 70, knocking out 68.50, and smashing the market lower from there. We've taken 5 points on a third, and again, they're still manipulating this 69.72 number. They're still keeping that alive here rather than let it go. It's too bad. It's too bad. It just makes trading so damn difficult when they're playing these games. It'll end at some point, but just trying to run a normal trading business where you trade back in the bias, you look for a stronger trend down move here and all that, makes it so difficult. Crude oil is spiking lower here.
Order pending.
So this is a very high risk short here at 50. I wouldn't take it. I don't like it. I'm still looking for this market to get hit here. Eventually they're going to recognize it's a sell down pattern. They're doing it now, and they're going to blast the market. It's just a matter of the riggers kind of making some decision to let it go and let the markets flow to the downside. Stay ready to jump out anytime. We're still targeting 64. A hard drop down under 67, maybe in the 66s or whatever. I may clip that trade only because it's the easier money here. I'm still worried about the riggers trying to come back in. They're not, usually they'll back off and sit in their hands when this happens, but today I see them in there. They're still kind of trying to control all these dips, and that really bothers me because I don't want to see them come in there with a big spike and jack them all the way back up to 65, 75, and they might. Look at them trying to do it now. See, when that big spike came in there, they were all over it trying to reprop it back up rather than let it slide, let it go. So we're going to try to hold short. If you get a hard, fast dive under 69 that rolls them back to 67 or lower, I still think they're going 64. It could end up spilling way off the charts to the downside, but we can't take that risk because we're trying to just adapt to what the conditions are we see. We can't rely on quote normal conditions to prevail here. You can see them. Look at them. They're right on that dip. Normally they let that stuff go. When this happens, they just kind of sit in their hands. Let them go. But nope, they're right on these dips here now for some reason. Unlike ever before, they usually just let those things go when they drop like that. Instead, nope, they're going to come in and keep propping up the dips. defeating the sellers. They got some weird mission against us here. Some agenda to keep the whole fiasco going. Go figure. Go figure. I can't. Let's try again. See if they can break them down. Try again. It should be willing to break down. The pressure should be on the sell side to knock them down to 64 to 67. They're trying to hang on. Let me scrunch this chart so I can show you. They're trying to hang on. 64 would be a give up. I mean, obviously they ramped the crap out of it this morning off that earlier dip, but 64, this zone here represents basically a give up of all this spiky rigged up effort they made to jack it up to this new high. So a move down into this zone, that's why they're propping 72. It's sort of like a quasi-neutral area where they still feel they have a chance to attack another high. But a dip down into this zone represents to them the failure of this artificial hiked up move. And I guess they have some fear that that's going to represent to the NASDAQ traders or the public or something that it's not real, that this is just some, the markets really wants to move lower. And everybody knows that. I mean, you can imagine how nervous people are who are holding long late in the game. Still like to see him break 69. If we can break 69, you can see this low coming in here. 68.50 is holding so far. So watch 68.50 to get hit, and then on a hard crunch under, if we get it, under 68.50, that knocks him down to 67 or lower. I'm kind of thinking more like 66 rather than trying to hold for that 64. I think they're going to end up going down there. I really do, but these just too tricky. These markets the last couple of days are too tricky, and we gotta claim our gains if we can get them. But let's try to hold a little bit longer. There should be selling pressure. There should be chart pressure, underlying chart pressure to knock this thing down lower. And if we do get a 68.50 break and they slam them down towards 60, in the 66s, and they keep going lower, I don't care. I'll be just glad that we got what we did. Because it's too difficult. You can see how difficult it is now because the riggers are coming in here propping up the dips, so they're making it difficult. Let's see if we can hit them here. If they just stop blocking the sellers, we'd already be trading the 60 handle, 60 even handle easily. All right, stay ready here. We're looking for a break under 68.50 to knock them down in the 66s, and that's where we want to cover them up. You can move the limit to 66.5 if you want, but they make look at that, they're still propping and goosing things up, so I don't know if we're going to even make it. They may just jack them all the way back up to 77 again without any rhyme or reason. But they are blocking the sellers. Makes it very difficult to trade. We'll get through it though. It's just another day, and we just do our best. And you look ahead weeks, months, just another day. You look back, oh yeah, it was a rough day, tricky day. The riggers were acting like idiots. Same thing here. See, they just can't let 72 go now. That's their new like point of control. They're trying to keep that going. And every time they lose it and they get them down under the 70s, they just rejack it back up here. So it's a little bit tricky. They may try to goose them back up to 77. I don't know what to tell you. It's disgusting, but what can you do? The downside trend should be in place for a downside move at least down to 66. They know it, I know it, and maybe they're going to try to upset it, but the prices should be able to get nailed down there. Okay, let's try it again. If you can just sit on your hands, riggers, we'll be more than happy to get out if we can get them down under 67. You rigger clown show, it's just always the clown show. Here we go. Trying to break 70 down. 69 is the key. Get them in the 60s. It'll be great to be back in the 60s. But I don't know if they're going to let it happen. They're just weird. We're susceptible to an upside goose, I suppose, but the pattern is for a downside move. We took 5 points at 72. Love to take 10 at 67. See, look at this dibble dabbling lower. That's all because the riggers are propping up the ticks. Just dibble dabbling lower. This is a sell off pattern. There's so many people I'm sure that would love to take profits, and they're out there, but the riggers just keep propping up the ticks to keep up the illusion that, oh, another all time high, another all time high. So I don't know. They got this game going on here. Let's see if we can blast them down. Let's see if we can knock them lower. Trying to take, see, look at that, right to 70, then propping. We're trying to get them to break 68 half and smoke them down to 66 half. That's the new limit, 66 half. Okay, 66 half. Let's see if we can punch out 68.50 and take them down to 66 half. Spilling under 68.50 could knock them right down there. We're in a sell down pattern, and we should be able to get it. We should be able to get 66.50. The new limit is 66.50, and once again, you see what's going on. Anything but run an honest market. That's their last thing they would ever do. It's always got to be under their control. The sellers right in here, you would be just piling on. You'd expect the sellers to just be piling on here, but they're being blocked. Let's see if we can take out 69 or lower, and ideally under that get a hard smash, a hard wave of second level selling crunch coming in there. Trying to take 69 out to set up a second level of a selling crunch. And they go down to our 66 level and then they hit them harder. That wouldn't be off the wall if that happened, but I can't take the risk because what if they just go down to 67 again and then just rocket ship them back up? That's how they've been acting. Right now, it is really forming a stronger downside pattern move. I think 64 is in the cards, probably even lower, but right now, look how hard it is to just get them to break 68.50. Even though the pattern is so bearish here, I'd never seen this before. Usually on the sell down and when you get the sell pattern forming, they just let it go. They just sit in their hands. But for some reason today, they're still propping up ticks, even in spite of this heavy sell pattern and everything. The riggers are still propping up ticks. I don't know what it's for, why they're doing it, but I hope they stop and let us get our 67 down there. Here we go again. Doggone it. They just keep trying to support 72. All right, let's try and hit him again. If we could just get a selling pile on under 68, 69, we should be able to get him down to that 66.50. Let's try it again. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Let him go, riggers. Stop playing games. Let him go, riggers. You guys see what I'm talking about here? It's embarrassing. It's so obvious what they're doing. Let's let them go, riggers. Break that 68.50 down, smash them down to 66.50. Or under 67 is what I'm saying. I was 66 half. We got a limit there, but don't get stuck on that. If they crack under 68.50 hard and drop them down to 67 or lower, just get out because I don't know. They could spring them back anytime. And I don't want to be sitting here while they stage a 5-point spike on the upside after these several dips under 70 and they just can't seem to let it go. I mean, it's so obvious what they're doing. It's everything I'm telling you. They are clearly, I've never seen them this desperate, how they're propping up even little tiny minor dips down there, little ticks. Even though it's in a sell pattern, they're not letting it go. Look at the crunched pattern up here. It's totally ridiculous that they can't let this go down here. Well, I'm going to still hold short. The pattern is calling for a stronger downside move, and I'm going to give it a chance. The last dip, 69, the exact number I was telling you. And they know these numbers. I'm giving them to you. They know them, and they keep propping them. But I think there's going to here we go. There's going to all of a sudden be a watershed move. Here we go. Try it again, riggers. Let them go this time. There should be a watershed move under 69 of selling coming in here to crunch this dang thing down to 66 half for us. It just shouldn't be this hard. There it is.
Order
Boom.
target
There's
filled.
66 half. Finally. Stupid ass riggers. Pardon my language. Yeah, now they're going to 64 and then they're going to go to 58. What a bunch of jerks. Anything but run an honest business. Anyway, we got our 66.50 for plus 11 points on that deal. Pardon my passion, but I've been calling out the riggers since 2001, and that's how I became known in the industry. And this is the worst I've ever seen them. They're insane, but we wish them well, and we wish them a happy new year. And there's almost 64. Remember, I gave you that number. There's 64.75, and they're repropping them. So good deal. Good job holding out.